Welcome to the podcast, Entrepreneurs Share Secrets with Sandra Mossman. And today I have a guest, Nancy Regagan from the Skin Diva Labs. Welcome.
Hi, Sandra. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. What do you do, Nancy? What's your businesses?
My businesses, I own spas and I also own a skincare line. So those are my main focuses on the entrepreneur side.
Yes. First, I would like to ask you about the spas, and then we can go to the skincare. Okay. And I think maybe you can start with your story about how you started with the spas and how you created your story in our pre-interview, what you told.
Okay. Back in 95, there really wasn't the definition of a quote unquote day spa. It was very new to the market and everybody was used to going to fancy spas. In Florida, there was Palm Air, there was Canyon Ranch up in Massachusetts. So there was fancy spas, but not day spas. I was coming out of I was securitizing mortgage-backed securities. So I was coming out of a very professional business and I was looking for a place to hang my shingle, so to speak, for being an esthetician. And I couldn't find any place to really work. So I was like, well, how hard is this to open up a spa? I'll just open up this new thing called a day spa. And I did. It was very much the very first in Delray. I had a friend who had one in Boca, and we were pretty much the only day spas where you could go have treatments that day and go home. Everything else was an overnight type of concept. So it was a journey because our services had to be better than a hotel spa or someplace you went. So we really focused we didn't have the amenities. We had to focus on the service. So our customer service at the front desk, our services of our facials, our massages had to be like just over the top. And that is how we really made it work for the business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So you mentioned I'm the person who have no idea what there's different kind of spas. You have a day spa, you have hotel spa. You mentioned what there's even spas in the cruise lines, like
cruise lines, yes.
Yeah. And how's their difference? And again, what kind of spas there's and what's the difference between them?
So traditionally, there was also the resort spa. Mm-hmm. So the resort spa, and this started years and years ago, there were the baths in France, and actually West Virginia's got beautiful springs that are baths, but there was that type of thermal wellness spa. There was the resort spa. The resort spa, you went away, you stayed for, some people, the celebrities, it was months, and revitalized yourself. For people that, mostly it was like a week or 10 days. And then you came home. The day spa is your traditional, let's go have the service come back. The hotel spa is mostly an amenity for the hotel guest. If done properly, though, the hotel spa can also be a wonderful respite for somebody who is in the surrounding area. So I kind of look at if I'm marketing a hotel spa, I want it to be a combination day spa, hotel spa, so that your local clientele is benefiting from the hotel. Mm-hmm. And there's also country club spas too. They're closed membership, and they have them just for their members of their clubs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, what kind of services do you provide in your spa?
The current spa that I own now, we are predominantly on non-toxic vegan. We do facials, we do body treatments, and natural nails and makeup. More of what I call a beauty spa versus a relaxation. We're also in that whole definition, we're also, like, which I forgot, we're a med spa too. So we do medical treatments in addition as another side.
How did your services changed over time when you opened? Maybe what kind of lessons you learned that these services are good, these services are not good, and how it changed over time?
So when we first opened, there were, like, if we just take one category of services, for example, nails, there were people doing nails. It was mostly in a salon. A lot of it was acrylic. A lot of it was super toxic. And our avenue to provide services was really in the vegan, non-toxic. And I have stayed true to that for the last 30 years because it's something that affects women for their endocrine system. So I'm very passionate about the fact that we don't want anything else in our bodies to harm it. Plus, you really need a great pedicure, so you're on your feet all the time. So that has always stayed the same. Massages have really, especially in Florida, changed. We used to have, like, amazing massage therapists that, and not that there aren't now, but there's competition because now a massage therapist can go to somebody's home. So it's a commodity that Massage Envy and the franchise spas made very easy and popular versus they took and Groupon did too, is they almost took the quality out of the massage versus, oh, anybody can have it. Not that I don't want anybody to have it, but my philosophy is we tend to be on, I want the best of the best. And I can't pay a massage therapist who's so highly trained rock bottom price to perform a massage. It just doesn't work. So that really has changed the market as time has gone by, is having those spa memberships that are available that really lower the price of the ability to compete. So massages to me has almost become a commodity too. So, like, tissue versus Kleenex. So it's kind of like, why even compete there? So the facial has really transformed from a feel good, let your skin be nice exfoliation to now, because of the ingredients and because of the technology that we have in skincare, it's a whole different ballgame for a facial actually making a difference in the skin long term. Before, 30 years ago, it was great if the facial lasted for a week, but now what we do in the room can last for 30 days, 60 days, sometimes even 4 months or more. So that technology has allowed us to really up our game in the skincare department. Let's see, what else did I forget? Body treatments. Body treatments, and this is me personally from viewing how you're treated as a guest. So when you went to resort spas and when you went to, many of them had Vichy showers, which is the shower that sprays you as you lay on the table, or they had salt treatments, or they had mud baths that were done in a wet room. American women are they're not in there getting treatments in a wet room. It just doesn't happen. It's not that popular of a treatment. So the wet rooms, from an industry standpoint, when I saw people building a wet room in the spa, I always thought it's such a waste of money unless you're going to make that room a multi-purpose room, because it's not used that much. We focus on 2 directions for our body treatments. We want to detox and slim you, and we want to exfoliate you. And those, we stay really true to those, because the Vichy shower and everything else is great, but also there's a little bit of a feeling of not being nurtured when you're in that let me spray you off routine. But it's a little bit like being a livestock animal and you're getting sprayed. And I never found it that it was like a nice experience. So I really kind of didn't like that. It's from a overview of body. Then you have makeup and more on the beauty. Brows are huge now compared to what we started out with. We used to wax and tint, and we tinted eyelashes, and that was it. Now brows are a huge part of the business. We have airbrush brows, we have brow lamination, we have all these other different alternatives to really making that department huge in part of the revenue sales.
Yeah. For the massage, did you ever have the massage and now you change like how you do massage? Or
I got rid of it completely. It was it was very hard to get that because we were really more focused on the beauty part of the business versus the massage part. Although I had great massage therapists, your competition for keeping those people busy 24/7 especially where we're located in our local ability. I compete with 4 hotel spas that are the caliber of the Ritz-Carlton, that caliber. So the competition for a great massage therapist is crazy. And it was like, do we keep knocking our head against the wall and competing, or do we pull back and do what we really know how to do really well? And entrepreneurially, it's a tough decision because you're leaving money on the table. But I always feel like when you pull back and start to niche your business, you actually do better than you before because you're too many things going. So I feel like even though we pulled back, we lost a little, we gained long-term because of our focus.
Yeah. How long you're in the business? Like
28 years.
Yeah. And when you started, like what services you provided in the beginning, just like some very basic services do you remember?
Very basic facial, very like massage. We had some, at the time we had some shiatsu massage. We had deep tissue. The facials, we'd have a basic facial and then we would have something that was more advanced. It was very much a simple, waxing's always been waxing.
Yeah.
It's very much a commodity of waxing, except for the technology of the wax has changed now. So that part of it makes the ability, there's European waxes that are made that don't pull the skin and they only adhere to the hair, which makes it much better for the client. It's so nice. But I try to stay away from where it's such a commodity and focus in on the things that we can make a difference.
Yeah. What kind of people you hired first when you just started? Like it was personal assistant or it was, again, massagers, facials?
It was, okay, so I started pretty much way back when by myself. I was the esthetician and I had a person who was dual licensed as a massage person and an esthetician. So she could do either. Then after the space was too small, we moved to a larger space and we actually ended up with nail people. Then we had nails, then we had more massage and we had more skin people, at that location before we ended up at the hotel, which was the same group, but on a much larger scale.
And when you started, did you start it in your, some house somewhere, or you rented the space
rented
right
space away? I rented space from, it was funny, my landlord was he was like a manly man. He had a cigarette boat in his garage next to the facials rooms and a motorcycle. And I would be doing a facial and all of a sudden he would test his motorcycle and I would be going, oh my gosh. And I would apologize like crazy. And finally, after 9 months of him testing his equipment at all hours of the day, we finally decided to part ways. And I was lucky and found a space that was less money than where I was running, but double the space. So it's kind of one of those meant to be kind of things. That's how we really grew that first time.
And you moved to the new space because you had too much clients and you needed more space, or because you wanted to expand your services? What was the reasoning there?
It was really moving because we had no more space, but also we had a noise problem, a noise pollution. So and the spa is, I see a lot of people that are new to building a spa thinking, oh, I can just go in. They already have the rooms built. But it's so important that you have soundproof walls in for every spa, and sound travels. It's such a true like part of building a spa is making sure that you have sound completely. And sound drywall, I know is expensive, but in the long term, it's worth every cent that you do on the build out, because you don't hear everything going. And it sounds something small, but even underneath the door and above the door, people hear things. And you don't want to have a facial or massage and hear the conversation outside the door.
Yeah. And in the beginning, how you find the clients? Like it was again many years ago.
Yes, but I love marketing. I'm like, it's all marketing. Did
they change? Do you see like, if you say like how you started many years ago, how you found the clients and how you find the clients right now, is it different? Or like people who want to start right now, will they do different technique to find the clients than how you did?
Somebody who wants to start right now, my first suggestion is get yourself a Google profile. It's on Google Maps now. And go directly to Google, create your business, get verified, start having everyone give you a review, and start putting pictures up. It costs you absolutely no money to have reviews and photos on your Google profile. And the other one that is now becoming very important is also your Apple Business Connect. Apple has done something on the cell phones where they're not always directing you to Google, but they're also directing you to Apple Business Connect. And it's another place where you want to be verified, showcase your business for everybody who has an iPhone that's looking. Those two things it costs no money. Everybody's going to talk about social media, but as somebody who wants the phone to ring, to make social media work, you have to be really good at social media. And the people that aren't, I feel for you, because I'm there sometimes, and it's like I find social media. Is it fabulous? Does it drive clients? Yes, but it is a long-term game unless you're just like so amazing at doing what you're doing and you understand this. Oh, you got to have the camera this way, or you got to have the music. You have to be amazing to make it work. That's why the Google and the Apple like back in, you'll die laughing because nobody even knows about probably what a fax machine is. But my best source of advertising was, they'll die laughing. We had a fax that went out to, I think it was like 1,000 businesses. every day in the whole Delray area. And it would fax out the lunches that were available every morning. So you could call and have your lunch brought in for all the corporates and the business. So I was the fax lunch sponsor so every day, all these businesses got our advertisement. And it was cheap. I think it was like $30 a month for me to fax 1,000 businesses. And that was another advertising that we did back in the day to get that volume. But the best you can do really is Google. Is the best.
Do you do advertising right now on the Google, like just paid advertising?
I was doing some paid advertising for a while. And then what ends up happening is I'm a little fish and I'm playing in a bigger market. So my big hotel spas, my big franchises, Massage Heights, Massage Envy, Seagate Hotel, all these big hotels, everything, they were killing me on dollar cost per lead. So I did a test to see which pulled. If I could get more reviews, would I show up in the maps? Because you want to be on the maps. Or did I need to advertise and be in that sponsored position? And I came out that I was driving more with my business profile. So I stopped the advertising completely. And it has not affected our business.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard like so many med spas do like your med spas. Advertising are like not so very efficient. It's just more about the reviews and people who just word of mouth. Like if you do the good service, they just like tell you about your business a lot. What about the equipment? When you started, like what was your first equipment you bought and how you buy the equipment?
Okay, so my very first, believe it or not, was 2 microcurrent machines. It's by a brand that's from the UK called Casey, CACI. That is no longer allowed in the United States by the FDA, believe it or not. But it was the Bentley of microcurrent. And it was this magnificent machine that did ultrasonic microdermabrasion. It did microcurrent lifting. It did, back in the day, LED, which now is so popular. But it did LED, and also we could do a wrinkle, sit on the wrinkle with electric current. And that was our equipment that we really had invested in. The machines were crazy. It was like the cost of a small car. So I think each one at the time was like $25,000, which we were in that facial position. So we wanted to maintain that. So we were the best at what we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. When you started, did you do cologne or you finance yourself everything? Like how?
Everything myself. I've always depended on myself. I know that there's some availability out there to always get money. And there are a lot of equipment manufacturers. For example, I do finance now a hydrofacial. I find it is much more economical to do it that way. But it's very, like most of the time, it's better just to get your equipment and be done.
And if somebody wants to open the day spa, which equipment would you suggest to buy them? Like if they want like facials, for example, do you have some suggestions?
If you're on a budget, I would highly suggest that you stick with what I call hand equipment. So out of Korea, there's a lot of equipment that is like small tools, like small LED, small microcurrent. There's one that does radio frequency and microcurrent. There's so many options now that we didn't have before that you can get remarkable changes. If money's no object, and you're headed towards like the high end, You could be in that hydrofacial, competition. The hydrofacial is a pro con to me. Pro, it has fabulous, amazing word of mouth, and people, everybody knows what a hydrofacial is. However, the competition and the sneakiness of getting customers, because the competition's very stiff for those customers, because technically you're supposed to adhere to $199 for the signature 30-minute hydrofacial. But so many people undercut that. You'll see $149. You'll see it on Groupon for even less. You'll see $159. And the other part we had trouble with for many years was people buying serums that aren't hydrofacial, or advertising hydrofacial instead of hydrafacial. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that you want to spend your investment of time in a machine that is not going to give you back. And you have to be so careful buying these machines. The manufacturer wants you to believe that theirs is the best. And after years of doing this, there's one right now in the market that is, oh my gosh, it's the best results. And I look at it and ask, what's the active ingredient? And they make it sound so exotic. And they're selling this machine for $25,000. And the active ingredient is sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. So after you've done this for so many years, you see it happening, but somebody new starting out is going to be, oh, wow, did you see the results? Hey, this person did this and this is what it was like. But, and the same thing happens with microneedling. There is a company out there that says, oh, it's not microneedling because it's not, but it's so much better for your skin. But they're actually dragging the needles, and it is needles and it's not. So it's a market where because people are buying on hope, and you're buying because of the value pyramid of hope. I mean, I hope I want to be beautiful. I hope I want to I want to be successful in my spa business. I want to give them the best. You're thinking, oh, if I don't have that machine, I won't be able to compete. And unfortunately, that's the way the market is. And it is terrible because it takes advantage of these new people that are starting out, that you don't really have to do this to get started if you are on, especially a budget starting.
Yeah. Let's talk about your team again. Or maybe not team, but when you start your med spa or like your day spa, what like legal things you need to know? Like I know every spa, I think they have, based on what state you are, is different registrations, or like what you should be. What in the Florida you need to be LLC, or what kind of business type you have?
Honestly, knowing the climate that we have today, I wouldn't do anything without being a LLC corporation. I just wouldn't do a thing. I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm just going to open this up, but you really need to be a business. And in the state of Florida, not only are you going to have a local business license, you have a local business license, a county business license, then for every service that you provide, you can have a different state. So our massage therapy is under the Department of Health. If you want a tattoo, you want to do microblading brows, it's under the Department of Health. It's a separate license. Facials and skin are under a cosmetology. So you have all these different, bordering license that are very important. And then you have the financial business side, which is If you have more than 3 people, you need to be paying workman's comp. I just saw somebody like at a luncheon that I was at who like about 2 months ago, and she was being not paying her workman's comp. She had 10 employees. And it's so important. More than 3, you need to be paying workman's comp. And I personally don't want the role of understanding payroll taxes. And I know it costs money starting out to pay somebody to do your payroll. But I think it's worth every cent to go to bed and not have to worry about it. But also through your workman's comp can be usually purchased with your payroll. So every 2 weeks or however you pay payroll, it comes out of your payroll. So it's not such a big hit at the end of the year. The other one is your sales tax. And if you're selling retail, which you should be, every spa should be like, it should be at least 20% retail to service. And if not 20, like I want to see it 30 to 40, but that's where it should be for really profit, because the spa's profit margin on services is maybe 9% if you're really, really pushing it, and paying payroll where it should be, and your profit is in your retail. So you really want the retail to be part of it.
I see. So to your team, and I know what to open the med spa, you need a medical director, I think.
Correct.
Do you need it for your day spa, and do you need it for your business?
Yes. If anything that you're going to do that's on the medical side, you're going to need a medical director. It's another thing that has been clamped down on a lot in Florida, mainly because of fraud, which is sad. But so a medical director anybody could have a medical director, but because of the fraud that has happened, it's very much clamped down on. And we look at our medical director as kind of like our business partner. So whatever we do with the guys that they're looking at everything that we're doing. We are not quite as active on the medical side. We're not doing like laser treatments or anything like that. That's not where I want to be, but I do want to be in the microneedling standpoint where I can really make a difference in the skin. So that's really our focus for making a change.
And for your team who you hire, do they need some special education, or there's so many, I think like 2-day classes, they can take some class and they can go to do facial or something, or what's your requirement for your team?
Florida has the worst education for estheticians, probably of anywhere in the United States. Anybody that I hire, I've been so lucky. Some have come from Nevada, which has a year training for an esthetician. Some come from New York, with same. Some are from Europe, same. Europe is 2 years, not 1 year. And they really come once they get here. I think I have one or two that actually are from Florida, like educated, but I spend month, all the time on education. I'm so adamant that they know what's going on in the body, that they understand why we have food issues, because the food issue leads to what's going on with the skin. So whether they like it or not, I re-educate them because it's so important to the success with your client.
Yeah. So I'm from Latvia, yes, from Europe. And I heard that, for example, Russians, like Russian from Ukraine, they do very good manicure. Like they have like very, very good service. The
only thing I don't love about them is they are taught to cut cuticles instead of pushing back and only cutting the dead part of the cuticle. So they tend to cut live cuticles a lot because that's how they're trained. But their nail skills, it's amazing. You should even say that because we just hired somebody who is Russian. So, and her nail skills are like amazing, but it's just making sure that they're pushing back the cuticle and not cutting anything that is alive, because it will lift the nail after prolonged. It'll lift the nail from the cuticle. So you never want that to happen.
Yeah, I see. Interesting. Yeah. Again, about your marketing, you do social media. You have social media.
Yes.
Yes. When you started social media, do you see that your business got better, or we talk a little bit about it before, but social media is not very useful, or like how you see social media affected your business?
So I really believe you should pick one platform and only focus on that platform that is local to your network. Like, so if you are like Pinterest, I really believe is more for products and not it, although it will give you amazing backlinks for your website, it's not going to put me in front of my clients that are local. Whereas if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, your local clients are going to be there. YouTube, to me, is more of a national platform than the three. So, and to me, I would pick, hindsight's 2020, I would pick either Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, where your target audience is. So my target audience is going to be different than somebody who's 30 years old starting out, who is starting, and their social media is going to be to a different client base. And so you really want to make sure that, like, I'm speaking to people that are 40 and 50 and up, and they're probably speaking to 20, 25, 30. So you need to be where your clients are and just go hard on that platform. Don't try to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah. And for the marketing, I saw on your website what you have, I think it's tea ceremonies or something, like some workshops.
Yes.
This is like how you got this idea is like just bring more people aware of your services. Like, what's the idea for it?
It was like really, okay. So as long as I've been working with women, I see that oftentimes we have a whole inability to have empowerment of others. And we often don't just take a break for something really, like, just to relax and have fun, like going and having tea. And is it a way to really have people like know more about the spa? Yes, but it was really meant as more of an empowerment for women. We have this one, and then we have two more coming before the end of the year that are almost all sold out. And our first one was a complete sellout. We had 50 people and it was packed. And it was the comments were, oh my gosh, I haven't laughed and had so much joy in such a long time. And honestly, in this environment that we're in, I truly believe women need that. I want that in the spa too. I want people to be laughing and having fun. And the more you hear joy, the more somebody's going to be your client and walk away and have, that's the experience they have. I just think it's so missing for women. It doesn't matter the age. We're all trying to navigate through life.
Yeah.
And we need support. And it's easy when you have a cup of tea, it's kind of easy to have support because you're having little sandwiches, you're having tea, and it's a nice occasion.
Yeah. Yeah. And pretty to connect people too, like, because we are so isolated sometimes, like we don't have friends, or we're just like at home watching TV. Again, from the COVID, we're, I know, afraid of everybody.
Right. Exactly.
We just need to get together sometimes.
It's good.
Yeah. And you have tea ceremonies. Do you have something else, other like connections or like workshops you do or seminars?
We have done in the past. I'm super big on educating. I think the more that my clients know, or anybody else, the better off they are. I pulled back a little bit from, we called it Skin Diva 101. We did a lot of them educating on mask, educating on rosacea, educating on every little part of skin. It's a lot of conversation. So we kind of have pulled back a little bit, and looking because I'm one person. So trying to make better use of maximizing time. But I try to do the education on Instagram so people can see and learn and ask questions about whatever they want, whether it's how to start their spa, which there's a lot of spa consultants out there. I don't know that they're always in the trenches actually doing it on an everyday basis. This morning I met with a fellow spa owner who's got a spa in Boca. We try to meet once a month in order to be able to exchange ideas and see what's going on. And I mean, her phone system's down. She's got a spa that's like over 5,000 square feet, 6,000 square feet. And none of her phones have been working for the last 2 days or 3 days. So it's like those kinds of day-to-day operations. But I think it's good to have, again, like the feedback.
Yes. And I agree to you too that I'm interviewing different business owners, and I like to hear solid background on the business, what you know, because right now in this trend or industry where people coach or they teach something when they don't have no idea how to run the business, and it's just like it's difficult.
I've been watching this, Sandra. I've been watching it happen now for years and years and years. And I thought, well, I'll be a spa consultant too. But it's a lot. And what ends up happening is, because that's not my main focus, you're not always there. But I see all these spa consultants I see a retail consultant. She hasn't sold anything in a spa in 25 years. The retail market and we have Sephora and Ulta, and it keeps on going. We have department stores that have better skincare selections than a spa. So why should they buy it at the spa? So, but the education to the spas needs to be more on that. And if you're going to be a coach, you need to be in the trenches to coach somebody. That's just me. I mean,
yeah, I agree. Definitely. Do you think it's a spa, more like day spa, is a good business? And how long do you think it takes from the start to see kind of results, like financially?
Okay, that's a really hard one. It's very hard. If I had to do it over again, I probably would not do it in the town I'm in. I'll put it that way. I was naive enough to not realize the competition was coming. And when COVID hit, we ended up with a lot of solo entrepreneurs. So we ended up with a lot of solo massage therapists, solo estheticians, solo nail techs. They were sneaking into, even though it's not it's against the law, they were sneaking into people's houses and doing facials and doing nails. The competition is intense. So I think to start a spa, you really need to be very mindful of your competition and map out your competition and do a marketing grid where you're like looking at price, quality, and put everybody on the grid so that you know this is the market I'm going to focus on, because just going out there and opening up a day spa without having a very focused niche, I don't think that you're going to be successful. And I see people do it all the time. It's not an easy business. You have the most expensive parts of your day are your payroll and your laundry. So, and your front team. So, and you want it to be the best of the best. So at the end of the day, would I do it again? Probably not in the same town I'm in, but I would probably research finding a town that has the medium capital income and being very strategic about where you're opening so that you're not in such an intense competitive environment.
Yeah. Locations. Yeah. When I also interviewed different business owners who had the med spa, she also thought like location really plays a big role, because if you have like free traffic somewhere too, like, or again, like if you have like another competitors, also very, very important. And what about if the person, for example, she does the facials at home? Yes. How she could scale to the bigger business? It just working until she'll get more clients, or just kind of get this leap of faith, gets the location, buys the equipment, and do the business.
So the solo person, if they're following all the rules of where, especially in Florida, if you're following all the rules and you have the separate entrance and you have your cosmetology license and you're doing everything by the book and you're bringing in 6 figures, or you're bringing in, 6 plus, let's say you're bringing in 200, I wouldn't move from where you are, because your ability to have your overhead, because prices are out of control, just our rent went up by 40% in September with no advance warning. So we're being inundated with property taxes. So that would be my advice for a solo entrepreneur. If you're dead set on doing it, I think you should have a super comfortable client base of people and understand, I don't care what people say, when you make the move to open your own place or go to some other place, people are going to not follow you. It is just as simple as it is. They're going to find a reason of why. I mean, I moved from on Atlantic Avenue. I went across the bridge. I had valet parking that was free out across the bridge. They had to go across the bridge, which was literally 4 blocks. And people that were clients, I don't know, and you're like, okay, whatever. But people will follow, some won't follow. But when you do it, and a lot of people get in this game as estheticians and build their book somewhere else and then leave. I've had it done to me. It is such a bad, I just think it's so bad karma-wise. Whatever comes back to you will come back tenfold. To start a book based off what you've achieved at another business and start new is so not okay. You want to leave and start your own business and not take any clients? Great. The beauty industry often doesn't have that respect where they should have a respect. It just is sad. But if you're making a good 6 figures at your residence and your solo Etsy, I would totally never move. Same with nails. I have a friend she's a solo nail tech. She does really, really, really well. And she doesn't want anybody else in with her because she's making great money. And once you start adding a front desk person and you have this vision, it was interesting to watch. I had a friend who had decided he was going to launch an SEO writing business. And he was like, it was really great. I was surrounded by all these shiny new things. And I thought I had a business, but I never built the foundation strong enough to withstand COVID or any of these other things. So I didn't really have a business. And you find out really like after COVID, I was one person. I went from having 15 people to one. So you really understand like, hey, this is what happens. So you have to be prepared for anything, financially too. So it's kind of,
Yeah, the COVID was very difficult for your industry. It's like nobody was able to come or just crazy. Yeah, crazy. I see. Maybe what other tips you can give to the inspiring entrepreneurs who would like to start the spa?
So probably do your business plan, do your marketing plan. If you're having trouble struggling with it, go to ChatGPT or Perplexity or AI, ask them, tell them what you're thinking, ask them to go through, help them do a projection of 5 years, so that you can see what kind of productivity, how busy do you have to be to pay the bills? Do you have to be 30% busy, 80% busy? Because you don't want to walk into something where your nut to break even is 15 grand and you walk home every day with nothing, because that's just so self-defeating. I mean, I think my biggest suggestion is really do your homework for a marketing plan, business development plan, and then also map out your competitors so that you know exactly what you're getting into. I think especially estheticians, I'm like the biggest person of this. We're creative people. We like making people feel good, and numbers are like, oh, it'll take care of itself. Oh, it'll pay itself. My accountant, even after all these years, is Nancy, where's the invoice for all the bottles? And I'm like, oh, I don't know what I did with it, So, I'd much rather be making somebody feel good than paying attention to where the invoice is for the bottles. So it's that kind of, you have to have both brains working to really make it successful, or have somebody who's doing it for you that's watching out, because you have to have both sides of the business. So make sure before you leap that you're because it's total 150% dedication to entrepreneur. There's no backup. There's no going, oh, I don't feel like opening the doors today. It just doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 24.
Yeah. So can you tell me again about your spa, where you're located and how people can find you? And maybe you can also a little bit tell about your skincare.
That's sweet. We had fun. I'm Nancy Regagan. I have Bella Reina Spa. It's in Delray Beach, Florida. We have the spa, which is bellareinaspa.com. And I also have a skincare line that is super fabulous, I might say. It's Skin Diva Labs. It's made with NAD, that gets it, for those of you who don't, NAD plus, which it's the only vegan option, and it's a cellular repair. So it can make a difference and completely change your skin in 14 days, guaranteed. But it's really cool. And that's been a whole journey in itself, beside the spas.
Yes. Maybe I need to invite you for a second interview about the skincare.
I would love that. Yes. This has been so nice.
Yeah. I saw the pictures actually before and after of your skincare. So check it out, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.